Hey, we should be live. Microphone looks good. Video capture's good. Alright, so we're back. We're working on the Indoraptor. Here it is. Bloodthirst and Enrage. So our goal is to make this thing as huge as possible and then have it kill all of our opponents or all of their things or both. Probably both. Since opponents are going to have to sacrifice creatures after a while to not die to it. Ideally, we're going to get it big enough that even that won't be good enough. So we finished with the Aftermath last time. I only got through a couple of sets. Like, it was almost entirely March of the Machines, the regular set, the other thing in the Aftermath, the Commander in the Aftermath. Because I spent a lot of time trying to decide if I wanted certain things. Mostly Atali. Like, Atali was one of the biggest ones, because Atali's just a powerful value card, and I only have one other deck right now that runs Atali, or can run Atali since I haven't updated recently. Technically, I have two decks that can run Atali, but I don't think the other one won. Actually, the other one might want it because it's very good at mana production. Like, it could literally cast and flip Atali the same turn. It's the mana burn matters again guy. So I ramp everybody, including myself, super hard, and then punish them for not using all of their mana. And then, of course, the other one is Rorik Thar because he's big dumb creature smash. Little dicey in Rorik Thar because I don't want to deal myself like 18 damage most of the time casting my opponent's non-creature spells, but might still be worth running. And also, I don't think I have to cast them, so. Am I at all interested in Black Market? It's good for paying the one hybrid mana in Indoraptor and all of the commander tax and the colorless on future turns. Like, if I get Indoraptor down, start triggering him a few times, opponents sack creatures to not take like 15 or 20 damage from him or whatever ideal number I've managed to accomplish. Then this would start getting counters, then somebody kills the Indoraptor, then next turn, I do have to do it pre-combat or use the mana to cast damaging spells and then cast the Indoraptor post-combat normally. Get my attacks in also. I might be able to generate enough mana, though, pre-combat to actually do some serious damage with some other spells before casting Indoraptor, which is what I'm considering it for. Because it's really hard to use that mana pre-combat to cast Indoraptor and still have him be huge. But if I could spend a bunch of mana beforehand to cast some extra spells to deal damage, then get my attacks in, then cast the Indoraptor post-combat. Maybe? Alright. We'll put it on the list. Get rid of that. I was filling out the collection on eBay today, so I had to note which ones I ordered. A bunch of little stuff that I've been missing, like Commander and Jumpstart pack cards from like Wilds of Eldraine that I forgot I hadn't gotten yet, and then some Ixalan stuff. I've been picking up a lot of the Jurassic Park cards. This was Black Market, right? Yeah, that I was thinking about. But yeah, the place I've been playing at, not only have the drafts not been firing consistently, but the prize pack wall does not currently include Lost Caverns of Ixalan set boosters, so even if they were, I wouldn't be able to open any of the Jurassic Park cards, so. Like, the last time we fired, I actually had to take Phyrexia All Will Be One. Like, they didn't have Dom United either. I've been trying to get extra copies of Sholdred because I think I only have two of her. And I think it's worth having a couple more copies of her Because I think first of all, she's definitely a commander staple. Like, if I just wanted raw power, I would run She'll the Apocalypse in basically all of my black commander decks, because our opponents are always going to draw cards, even if they're not actively drawing extra cards, and most players are actively drawing either an extra card every turn or large numbers of cards all at once, and either or is fine with She'ldred, so. I try not to make the decks too homogenous. Hello, Wylandio. Welcome back. I'm doing alright. How are you doing today? I try not to make the decks too homogenous. Like, if we were going to force opponents to draw cards, um, then I would run She'ldred in the deck, but, you know, if I'm going to have 10 or 15 or 30 at the rate I'm going commander decks all, like, ready to go and be put together, I don't want all of them to play too similarly. We're working on the Indoraptor from the Jurassic Park subset from Ixalan. So we're trying to make a big, angry, bloodthirst creature and then deal him a bunch of damage and get him to destroy our opponents. We don't need any of the mercenaries. Caustic Wasps, Cave Sense, no. In theory, I'd be building him in paper. Right now, I've spent the past couple years organizing my collection, slowly moving things into from binders into 5,000 count boxes. Actually, up to Dragons of Tarkir now, going in set order. So once I get that all done, I'm first going to update a bunch of my commander decks because I haven't updated in over a year now, and then we'll move on from there to actually building things. My default mode is putting whatever I want in it because I basically have every card. So first I put in like all the cards I want, then a lot of times I'll go over budget considerations to give options for the insanely expensive cards that I've chosen, or suggest pulling out whole like sub strategies if the card doesn't have a good replacement. Like, you're not gonna find like something really good for like Chains of Mephistopheles. Um, you know, like two, three, $400 cards from Legends usually don't have an analog in more recent sets. So once those things have to go, it's like, well, now you can't really punish your opponent for drawing extra cards in your mono black deck, so you probably want like these things instead. Yeah, I forget what Chains is up to now. I don't think it's more than that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Don't need Conspiracy. Cragsaurian new. Crash. Crooked Scales. No, to Crumbling Sanctuary, as funny as that would be, to deck everybody instead. I don't need Deepwood Legate. Delrake. No. Twister, Distorting Lens, Dust Bowl. Whenever it attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target creature of defending player's choice. Nope. That player discards those cards. No. Flailing creatures, Food Chain, no. Force March, no. Creature you control dies, pay 1, reveal cards from top of your library to reveal a creature card, put in your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Meh. Whenever you cast a creature spell, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. It dealt 1 damage to each of our opponents, maybe. 2 damage, definitely. Like something that deals 2 damage when I cast a creature spell to each opponent. Because then Indoraptor gets 2 extra counters just for casting him. Away Robber is loss of life, also probably not worth it anyway. Hunted Wumpus. Subordination, no. Intimidation, eh. Archive, Glider, Legate. Negotiations. Deal 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. Probably not. Better than sacrificing my creatures, but I'm still not going wide enough to make this. Like, I'm probably going to be better off attacking at that point. There will be somebody I can hit for damage around the table, but most of the time anyway. Don't need larceny. It's loss of life. Lithophage. Well, that is kind of funny. Stops 2 different players from, or players with 2 different colors from being able to block on the Indoraptor, potentially. Or on the attack, so I can set him up. Usually I don't do color hate cards, but it's really important that somebody be vulnerable to my attacks. So I'm a little more interested in something like Magistrate's Veto, actually, because it's not stopping me from attacking or blocking, and it's not hurting everybody, so it might just get to live. And then, like, the one player that's, like, heavy white or heavy blue won't really be able to block the turn I need to set up for Indoraptor coming in. Honestly, it depends on what cards you're looking for. A lot of the time, especially with more recent sets, buying the individual cards is a lot cheaper than buying packs to try and open the cards, unless there's a lot of different cards you want from the set. Especially if you need certain commons and uncommons from the set, it's usually cheaper to buy the individual cards that you're looking for. Um, Buying packs just to open packs is a good way to build your collection when you want basically everything, because then it doesn't really matter what you're opening, you're getting stuff that you need. But when you only need a handful of specific cards, it's usually a lot better to um, buy the individual cards that you wanted for your deck. Yeah, most of the time, if you have specific cards you're looking for, it's better to buy those cards. If you really want, like, you don't care what you get out of the packs as long as you get stuff that you don't have or stuff that you don't have 4 of, then buying packs is usually pretty good at first, and then buying, like, the handful of cards you didn't get afterwards. But for the most part, I recommend if you're going to open packs, if you can find places doing drafts, that's usually the best way to get new cards while still playing the game. Like, you get more out of opening the packs, because there are a lot of packs where you open them and you get a card that's, the rare card is only worth like $1 or less, or is only good in limited. And a lot of times the constructed and valuable cards tend to be okay in limited, unless they're very narrow and only good because of the focus you can do in a constructed deck. So usually you can take like the rare or the mythic out of the pack and then draft the rest of the packs normally. And you get the joy of opening the packs too. Like, if you just want to open packs, I recommend that at that point for, like, if you can get into a draft. Because if you're going to pay to open the packs anyway, then it doesn't really matter if you lose. Like, it's usually only, like, 1 pack more to enter, and you get to open your 3 packs, and you might get past something that somebody doesn't want because they're trying to win the draft and they don't actually need the rare or mythic from the pack. Like, it's not super valuable. Or you wind up drafting with somebody like me who doesn't know what any of the cards are worth because I just have everything, so I don't need to buy them, so I have no idea that this card is suddenly spiked to like $10. I passed like in Innistrad Midnight Hunt, I passed a foil Cultivator Colossus, and somebody was like, Pat, you know this is like a $30 card, right? And I'm like, no, I did not know that, or I would have taken it. Like, yeah, usually I'm a bit better at things like that, but I have been known to pass things. One of my favorite stories is people love sitting next to me during the third trip to Ravnica because I have so many shock lands, and I just wanted to open cards that I didn't have, so I focused more on winning the drafts than taking money. So I would pass shock lands all the time in the second trip to Mercadian Mass because I already had play sets from 2 other Ravnica sets plus overflow for trading, so it's like I do not need these. And I will open enough of them in prize packs anyway, so yes, by all means, take the $5 to $7 shock land and let me have a card that will let me win a draft here. So, do not need affinity. Nether Spirit, no. Whenever player plays a land, nope. Tap all lands, no. Pulverize. We're not ramping with artifacts, but I don't think we need pulverize. Then again, I don't want to run like Wave of Vitriol and destroy all my cool non-basics, so. If you're building a commander deck from scratch, the first thing is to figure out who you're going to build around. Because you want to have um, you want to have a basis for the deck. Like, it is possible to build a deck that is just like the best cards you have in certain colors or color combinations, and then just pick a commander that has a decent ability that's in those colors. But for the most part, I like to figure out the commander first so that way I can focus on their actual abilities. Like when my very first commander deck, I focused more on a strategy, which is I wanted every card to basically, like, every time I played a creature or a card that made creatures, I wanted it to be a swarm of creatures per card. So I would run cards like the various hermits, like Deranged Hermit, and I don't think Deepwood was out yet, but like Felonite Hermit. So they would make a bunch of 1/1s and buff them all, um, like Captain of the Watch and whatnot. And then I put in a bunch of cards that benefited making tokens or that mass pumped my creatures, with the idea being that this was back when Commander was still relatively new, and everybody was like, well, basically the board just explodes every couple turns, so I wanted cards that, if I played one card, I had a small army again that the opponents had to deal with. So that way, if they could only Wrath, like, if somebody was playing a Wrath like every 3 to 5 turns, they wouldn't be able to keep up with my damage output. So that was like the first one. And then I put Taneb in charge because he could reanimate a creature if he connected. So every time I reanimated a creature, it was like getting 3 to 5 creatures in play instead. And eventually that got pulled apart for Riss, so I could focus on token making with him and build different commander decks. But yeah, most of the time I go by what the commander is, but every once in a while I will pick a strategy and then build the commander, like the deck around the strategy, and then find a commander that works with it. Okay. Hmm. That really depends on what the players that you're playing with see as threatening. Then. Also, that only works for a little bit of time if it actually functions, because then they'll get to know what the deck looks like when it's winning, and they'll realize what the actual problem is. So that only works for a little bit of time where you have to be unassuming and harmless until you're not. And if you're too good at being harmless and unassuming until you win the game, then everybody goes, no, that deck is terrifying and we don't know when it's going to win, so we have to kill it now, because by the time it starts winning, we can't stop it. So everybody panic kill that person first. Let's see, don't. Dryad. Brushwood Elemental is way too intense green for way too little effect. Herbalist. Out of the ones I have built, I feel like it's Mogus. I think I have the most fun playing with Mogus. Mogus is basically what's referred to as group slug, as opposed to group hug, where he punishes everybody more or less evenly for playing the game and slowly grinds everybody down. He has a lot of deal damage when opponents do things they're going to do anyway, drawing cards, discarding cards, um, casting spells, having too many cards in their hand. He functions a lot like Nekusar, but without blue in him. And I think that makes him more entertaining, because Nekusar can win very quickly with too many different wheel effects, and his own ability being in Underworld Dreams, but Mogus being a little bit slower in that regard. Yes. Being a little bit slower in that regard makes players not realize how fast they're about to die sometimes. And then I play like one particular card when I have the rest of the setup going, and all of a sudden they take way more damage than they thought they were going to in a turn cycle. Yeah, Mogus is probably the most fun to play. After that, Nin the Pain Artist, who is my infinite taking turns deck. That was one where I wanted to build a blue red infinite turns deck and selected Nin as the commander, because she has an excellent card draw mechanic to her where she can deal X damage to any target or to any creature, and then that creature's controller draws X cards. And I mostly use her to shoot herself. So I use her as a delayed card draw spell, with the occasional using her as either like damaging one of my other creatures with high toughness, or killing an opponent's problematic creature and letting them draw a few cards. But for the most part, she just deals damage to herself, so I can draw a ton of cards. Um, Saber Ant is dealt damage. You may create that many 1/1 insects. Huh. And I passed over Hornet's Nest because we did the core sets. I wonder if I want Hornet's Nest too. Like, I'm already running Star of Extinction and Blasphemous Act. I think I got distracted by Hornet Queen when we were in, like, M15 or something. Like, seeing her again and thinking about possibly running her in the deck and then backing off of that. Do I want this? I probably want Hornet's Nest more. They're 1/1 flying Death Touchers. Like, this one's only good if I make, like, a whole lot of them all at once. Hey, you go grab your food. I'll see you when you get back. Hornet's Nest. There aren't a lot of bees in Magic to begin with. I'm pretty sure I have all of them because it's like Killer Bees, Unyaro Bees, Hornet Queen, Hornet's Nest. I don't think there are a couple other like bee, wasp, hornet type creatures. They're mostly black at that point, though. They're mostly like stinging insect type things. Probably don't want saber ants, but now I feel like I want hornet nest. Alright, go back in time. Which one was hornet's nest from? Is it hornet nest? It is hornet nest. From M15, I think, right? Yeah, 15. Okay. Yeah, I did not think of that when I was dealing damage to all of my creatures. It is only 2 toughness, so any pyroclasm type thing would take it out, but if I only dealt 1 damage to each creature, I would get a 1/1 Death Touch flyer out of it. Similarly to the Saber Ants, it's probably only worth it when I do like the big hit, but that might still be worth it. Yeah, I just kind of glossed over that one, didn't I? It is an insect, right? Because there's no... other creature type for it? Yeah, okay. Alright, back to Mercadian Mass then. Seismic Mage, Sever Soul, Shock Troops, no. Assassin, no. Battlefield, I get a Forest. Pathfinders. Ooh, Sizzle deals 3 damage to each opponent. That's a 6 to 9 points of damage. Alright, back to Mercadian Masks. It's not as efficient as Flame Rift, but it's also not damaging me, and it's only 1 more mana, so... maybe? Skulking Fugitive, Skull of Ramos. Guess a blue or black spell, no. Snuff Out, don't think so. Each card in my hand. Flying, no. Beginning of your upkeep, you may return Sweet Goblin Nabob from your graveyard to your hand. Warmonger is the Earthquake, right? Squallmonger is the Hurricane, Warmonger is the Earthquake. Maybe? Maybe I want that one? Probably not, though. Like, the main thing for using it would be to deal a damage to Indoraptor repeatedly. Yeah, we'll think about it when we get to him. Meantime, lands. Let's see, sacrifice the land. Players can't play land. Thieves Auction, no. Do I want Thrashing Wumpus as another, like, basically as a living pestilence? I think the answer is probably. Like, I want to consider him at least. Like, the demon is hard to consider with, like, the intense black mana requirement and that he's like 7 or 8 mana, something like that, but the Wumpus only being 1 more colorless mana to cast is probably okay. Again. Tower of the Magistrate, no. Toymaker, no. 1 damage to each creature without flying. I think we can do better than that. Taker, Unmask, Unnatural Hunger, Data. Alright, Warmonger. 4 mana, 3/3. 2 mana Warmonger deals 1 damage to each creature without flying, and any player may activate this ability. So I feel like trying to set up for Indoraptor, probably not going to happen. Somebody will see this coming and spend the mana to kill it and deal everybody a few points of damage. But it's not as good as some of the other options I have for dealing damage to Indoraptor, so yeah, I think we can skip that one. Alright, so that was Mercadian Masks. Brings us to Mirage. Alright, Mirage, what you got for me? We like this Gatherer. We'll go back to Scryfall. Abyssal Hunter, no to Acidic Dagger, Grove, Agility, no. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Draw a card. Prison, no. Making, no. Armor, Guild Mage. Nope. Opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield, no. Damage to it, no. Barreling attack. Assault Golem, Binding Agony. All creatures lose trample. If a creature would deal combat damage to a creature this turn, it deals double that damage to that creature instead. Nope. Prevent that damage. Exile cards from the top of your library equal to the damage prevented. No. Deals damage to each player equal to the number of artifacts they controlled that were put into the graveyard this way. Freight. Burning Shield. Cadaverous Bloom. Damage to target creature. Target creature gains haste. Diamonds. Consuming Ferocity. Volkite, no. So, Curse Totem, you can away now. Only during an opponent's turn, tap target creature deals damage equal to its power to that player. Nope. If it's an opponent's turn, put a 1/1 counter into Sword and Spear for each 1 damage dealt to you this turn. Beginning of my end step, remove all the counters from it. Nope. Harvest. This is one I gain 1, 3 cards, or gain Sphere. No. Nope. Fire Breathing, Flame Elemental. Target creature, no. Flare, Fog, Wartog. Loses life. Alright, you have fun then. I will see you next time, and thanks for stopping by. Destroy target artifact. That artifact deals damage equal to its mana value to Goblin Tinker. No, but there is the Viashino, which I think is from Legacy for like 3 tap, destroy an artifact, deal damage to its controller equal to the mana value of the artifact. Might want to consider that one for the extra damage it could deal. It could destroy like something expensive or target something expensive like Darksteel Forge or something. I don't think it actually has to successfully destroy the artifact. It just has to target it. Don't need Hivus. Hammer. Contract, no. Don't need the Troll. Worm. Carevex Purge. Destroy target creature with mana value X. If that creature dies this way, deals damage equal to that creature's power to its controller. Probably not. Diamond. Arrow. Fire Shade, no. Opponent's upkeep. To me. Tribute, no. Vault, no. Don't need bird selection. No. Vampire, no. 2 mana, deal 1 damage to any target and 1 damage to itself. And it's a 4-drop. If it were a 3-drop, maybe. If it dealt the damage to me and to the target creature or any target, then definitely. Forget if there's anything even close to that, though. Trying to think, yeah. We'll run into it eventually if there is. As long as I don't accidentally ignore it. Like I did the Hornet's Nest. X damage to each creature. Deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature only if it's attacking or blocking and only once each. Nope. Don't need Shallow Grave. Don't need Shaku. Or her minion. So they pay for life. No. Number of creature cards in your graveyard. Sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. Spirit of the Night. Hitting Earth. Stalking Tiger. Deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. You control in excess of the number of creatures target opponent controls. Target player discards a card unless they put a card from their hand on top of their library. If a player discards a card this way, Taint Inspector deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Activate only as a sorcery. That is just way too much going on where it's like, if this is good for me, they'll put the card on top. Also, it's a 4 mana 2/2 flyer, so they might just kill it. Also, it's asking me to spend 3 mana. Yeah, no. No to all of that. That's way too much for way too little potential. Torrent of Lava. Storm, no. Nope. Volcanic Dragon and Volcanic Geyser. Okay. Raj. To Mirrodin. Alright, do we want Altar of Shadows? This function's very similar to Black Market, except that it's more expensive to get started and has the ability to actually forcibly kill creatures to get charge counters onto it. But it doesn't get the charge counters from things just dying. It actually has to slay them for that to work. I'm not proliferating. Yeah, I don't think so. That's a lot of effort to get like a charge counter or two onto this thing. Exile the top 10 cards of your library. Deal 2 damage to any target. Nope. Trail of Flesh. No. Probably not for Bosch either. Clockwork Creatures. Cloud Post. Confusion in the ranks. No. +1 for each untapped permanent your opponents control. Shard. Destroy target non-land permanent with the lowest mana value. Target any one of them. Boxer becomes blocked by a creature. Destroy both creatures. Bolt is life loss. Oh, Disciple. Why couldn't you be damage? Could sack my treasures, deal a ton of damage to my opponents instead of making them lose a ton of life. Duplicant, probably not. Artifact creature, deal 4. No. Enchantment. You lose a flip, Fire Gambit has no effect. If you win 1 or more flips, deals 3 damage to target creature. If you win 2 or more flips, deals 6 damage to each opponent. If you win 3 or more flips, draw 9 cards and untap all lands you control. 3 mana deals 6 damage to each opponent 25% of the time. Roughly. And if I lose the second flip, I don't even get to deal the 3 damage. Yeah, I think that's a bit too rough. Like, very strong when it works. Not working anywhere near often enough, consistently enough to often and consistently, yes. Sacrifice an artifact, put X counters, where X was its mana value. To the Aether. No. Sunseeker, no. Charbelcher. haste. Those things. The mirrors, no. Skin gauntlets, no. Grab the reins. Shard, no. Loses 6 life. So even if they had the same spell as me that they cast that I had in my deck, like a Soul Ring or something, this wouldn't be good enough. And it's also almost definitely happening on their turn, not my turn, so all of the reasons not to run it. Don't think any of the things I'm currently running are 2-mana instants. Flame Rift is a sorcery, I believe. A lot of the other things that I'm planning on running are also sorceries. 1 damage to each creature without flying. Thumb. Tar. Can't run standard. Leveler, no. I do want Lightning Greaves because I want Indoraptor to be able to attack immediately. Also, I want my other... Why am I putting in Lightning? I need Mirrodin. I also want the other creatures to be able to attack immediately so they can get in extra damage without having to invest any more mana into giving them haste. So, Lightning Greaves definitely worth considering. Yeah, there's a part of me that would like to have Loxodon Warhammer, but I think I'd be better served with Basilisk Collar just to make it cheaper to equip the Indoraptor. Plus, Death Touch helps if I'm making it fight things. I give my opponent stuff haste, so no mass hysteria. Mesmeric Orb, Mind's Eye, Rain. Any of these mirrors, I don't think. Origin Mist, no. Spell Bomb. Running that many swamps. It is nice that it equips for life instead of mana, but Activist, Slagworm, Pyrite, Weaver Demon. Sculpting Steel, I don't think. Shrapnel Blast, no. We have enough artifact creatures for Skeleton Shard. I don't really need the sliths at all. Do I want Sad Robot? It's a mana ramping, like land ramping spell that can attack for 2. Yeah, maybe we'll at least consider Sad Robot, so. And Robot. Nope, that's not how you spell robot. There we go. Golem? Always forget his creature type. Yeah. Yeah. Deals damage equal to its power to any target. Unfortunately, the main way I have of growing creatures is Indoraptor's natural ability. So Spike Shot Goblin is highly unlikely to deal much more than 1 point of damage. If I thought I could consistently pump his power high enough, because it's only red to activate, so giving it a ton of power and then activating it on subsequent turns and then casting Indoraptor would be good, but I don't think we need Tooth and Nail. There's no, like, 2 creature card combo we have going on that wins us the game, so need it. Aesthetic, no. Guardian Shaman. Battle Horns. Does make Indoraptor unblockable. Battle Master, Gauntlets. I mean, it's on theme, but it's also a 3 red mana 1/1, and I have to have dealt damage to an opponent already this turn, or it doesn't even come into play successfully, like it just explodes immediately. And then it doesn't even come in with counters based on the damage already dealt. I have to deal more damage after that. Yeah, why are you so terrible, War Elemental? Get your life together, man. Come on. You're in Modern, for crying out loud. You've seen the things in Modern? Alright, so we're at 52 minutes. I think I can get Mirrodin Besiege done real quick. We'll call it there. Do not need Black Sun Zenith. Steel Colossus, no. 3 damage to target creature, no. Passive Bolt deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. Can't block this turn. 5 mana is a bit much for that. Destroy target non-artifact or target non-creature artifact. Erosion. Yeah, I probably just want Shatterstorm because I think Shatterstorm negates regeneration also. Darksteel Plate I want. I do want Indoraptor to be indestructible. So. Steel Plate. Decimator Web, no. Dross Ripper. Water. Flare Husk. Sermite. Nope. Look at the top card of your library. You may cast it without paying its mana cost if it's an instant or sorcery. There are a lot of fun cards that we could flip off the top with this thing, but aside from Vampiric Tutor, I can't really set them up all that well. Yeah, I don't think so. There are a few things that would be really fun with this guy, where we like put some of those spells that I've been passing up on because they're just way too mana intensive. Like put one of those on top and then flip it and deal a ton of damage to all of our opponents. Then cast Indoraptor because we played the spell for free. But most of the time that's not going to work out the way I want it to. Like either this thing's going to die or I'm not going to have a way to manipulate the top of my deck consistently or something. Something is going to go wrong more often than the ideal scenario is going to come up. I'm going to like reveal the spell when I can't cast Indoraptor for whatever reason. And then just deal a ton of damage and be sad that I didn't win the game. I do love me some Into the Core. So we're going to consider that one. That is one of my absolute favorite artifact removal spells. Commander. Always at least consider it. 4 damage device you choose among any number of targets. It's a 6-drop. Needs to eat an artifact, so probably not. Ringleader. Massacre Worm is loss of life. Here works for anything. Mortipod is a bit too mana intensive, and that just makes it a worse Goblin Bombardment for my deck, so. Sire. The other mirror. Twisted Ghoul, no. Crusader, no. Hot Mother. Piston Sledge. Plague Mirror, Plague Maw. Raiders Council, no. Psychosis Crawler. Sangromancer, no. Slag Storm. 3 mana, 3 damage to each creature, or 3 damage to each player. So basically another sizzle, if I want it to be, or a way to trigger the Indoraptor and clear out the little guys. Yeah, okay, I'll consider it. Like, right about the right mana for what I'm getting for it, so. Alright. Sphere of the Sun's no. Spin Engine. Spine. Duelist. Spreading Sickness. Sword of Feast and Famine. Opter Assembly. Thrun. Viridian Corruptor, Viridian Emissary. Don't want Thrun Rise. Hexproof and can regenerate. Can't be countered. And that'll do it. Alright, well. We're at the hour mark, and we made some decent progress. So we'll call it there for right now. So thank you for watching. Thank you to Wylandia for stopping by and chatting with us for a little bit, and I will see you all next time. Have a good rest of your day.